这个讲座是关于这些漂亮的绿植。凤梨类的这些绿植呢，我没有怎么太涉猎过，所以知道的不多。恰好这个讲座的声音还比较清楚，所以我直接把原声放在这儿。如果日后需要了，也方便回过头来再听听，算是存了个资料吧。
So there's some in this group that only flower and produce seed. When the seed's blown and on the branches of the trees, they actually germinate and they actually have what they call little like paper pups, little thin ones, and that is nature's way of preserving the species. If that major plant gets eaten in that early stage, one of these others will come up and be the main growth for that. But other than that, they don't have pups in their mature age. So that's those ones. Then you've got foliage varieties, which are these different types, and they have pups each time they flower. So these guys we grow just to have them, there for 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 years as a specimen plant. To have as a major plant in your garden. All these bromeliads are understory ones, and they will take a little bit of morning sun, but they don't like the afternoon sun. This one will take a little bit more, and there's a couple of species that will take full sun. So you have to know your variety as to where you're putting it in your garden. Now, I brought these in because this is how in nature they grow. As the plant matures and comes up into flower, it will throw its bottom leaves, and it's just a matter of taking them off. If they're dead old ones like that, just pull them off. If they're a little bit tough, just split the leaf and pull it right and left. And then that plant's cleaned up, hopefully. That plant then is presentable, ready to go out into the marketplace. But the reason it throws its bottom leaves in is putting the energy into the spike. And then as the spike, that's only the bracts. Every other day on every side of those will come a little yellow flower. And they're actually the proper flowers for it. That's just the bracts to hold the flowers. And then once that's done that and it starts to disintegrate, that's when your pups will come up through the side. Well, this is a miniature, but you can see these pups come in the leaf axis, but these ones are on a stolen. So if you want to leave mother in the garden and she just disintegrates and the pups come up and take her place, that's fine. This will die. You can cut it off. If you cut your spike off, make sure you cut it above the water well, because if you cut it below, you can get a fungus or a bacteria into the stem, which will go down into your plant and could kill it. So keep your cut line above the water, and you can cut that out if mum's looking a bit, at it that way, and just let the plant put the energy into the new pups. You can leave it in the garden like that, as I said, or you can separate them. It's entirely up to you. If you're going to take the pups off these, you've got to split your leaf, pull it left and right so that it makes a clean pull off, and a lot of the times if you've got it in a pot, it's better to just tip it out the pot, give it a tap, and that gives you access. That gives you access to that pup, because the pups in Boresias and Guzmanias and Tillandsias, they're right down in the crux of the leaf joint. Whereas these fellows are a lot easier. They come out on the stolon, and with these you can cut them off. Somewhere I've got a pair of scissors. That's him off. He's already got 2 new pups coming, and it's at this base where the new roots come from. So you could tidy it up a little bit, just take those older leaves off it. Tidy it up so you're not getting any mealybug or any other bugs in it. And then, this, when you pot it, always go from a small pot, because that's quite a nice mother with 2 pups. I wouldn't go for the smallest pot. I might go for that one. It's a fraction bigger, right? And then, but if I was just taking a smaller pot, just a single one, I most probably would put it in the smaller pot. So, in that one there. So, it's better to underpot them than overpot them till they get rooted. Once they're rooted, and then you could eventually, like because this is a nice clump, you could eventually plant that into a water well pot or one like this that you could put a hanger on it and have a whole basket full of them. It depends on the size of the type of plant it is too, so that's something there. With these type here, that one's got a fair amount of chlorophyll in it. It's got a lot of white cells, and if they're whiter than that, which I've got one in the arrangement, they don't always survive because they don't have enough green chlorophyll to survive. So just as a side issue, I would make an arrangement. It's not hard. I ran around last night, grabbed some geranium, grabbed some fern, and 3 plants and a couple of flowers and put it in, and you've got a nice arrangement. You can give your girlfriend for her birthday or something, or just have on the dining room table. It doesn't take much to do that, you know.
Sorry, when you plant this one, will you plant it with a shoot looking down, or would you plant it at an angle?
What do you mean the shoot?
This one here, the shoot.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
The lady's asking me, would I put it on an angle? No, I would clean this up totally. Get rid of all that old leaves off it. You can see this is already rooted, so I don't have to worry about that. Maybe take that leaf off there. And then, because miniatures need to clump up, they don't need a big pot. So I'd go something like this. Put some compost in the bottom. Oh, someone says it.
Just fill it out.
And then fill your pot up.
And it's a medium compost I want to plant into.
The lady asking me, is a Cymbidium compost okay? Yes, any open mix, because they're epiphytes, they don't need a lot of soil. So the more open the mix, the better. It gives them air porosity, and their roots will find their way through there. Now that's potted up. It's not a perfect job, but it'll do it. And then we can put some fertiliser around, a little bit of dynamic lifter just to get it going. And it's okay, it only takes about 6 to 8 weeks and then it's gone. So that gives it a little bit of oomph over winter. I wouldn't suggest breaking any of them up till October. September, October, November. And then even when you do that, if you get your compost, put it at the bottom, and I just pretended, put a little bit of fertiliser in it, and then pot it on top of that, and that's a slow release fertiliser. And because bronze are epiphytes, they want a low nitrogen fertiliser. So when you go in and look at your Osmocotes or Nutricotes or whatever's on the shelf at the nursery, you'll see NPK. Go for the lowest one with N on it. So if it's got 18, 10 and 12, and it's got one that's a 12, 10, 8, go for the 12, 10, 8. So the lower, because they don't need that much nitrogen. So in nature, the hummingbirds pollinate them, and the oopsies from them, they get in the plants, and that's fertiliser for them. So this is a Guzmania. It's also a canopy plant, grows up in the jungle. of the leaves get very tough, so you've got to split them, and like I said, go left to right. And just sometimes have a little bit of a trim up. That leaf's not much good, I'll take it off. Now a plant like that, now it's flowered, it will pup, so I would leave that in that pot till it has mature pups, and then make a decision, do I put the whole thing in maybe just the next size pot, or whether I split it up and divide it up and make 3 or 4 plants out of it. So the choice is yours. So, also, in the plant world, we get the plain type, plain leaf ones. We get these that look like tigers, they've got stripes on them. You get blotches. This is another one with stripe marking on it. This is another one. This parent of this plant has been around, my grandmother had one, so it's been around 90 years. But these are more modern ones from tissue culture, and when they come out spineless, so which was an advantage for the gardener, you know. And they have that big, beautiful pink flower head on top, and then they have little purple flowers come out of them. So, and that'll do that about Christmas, February, with a flower then. So you've got all arrangements of all different sizes, and like I said, they go from the giants down to the tinies. So you've got a whole range of plants that you can pick from. Any questions? No? Okay. All right. Everyone's happy with that? Yep.
Do they all have a flower?
The lady's asking, do they all flower? Yes. When you get past ferns, algae, conifers, every other plant in the world flowers after that. So it's only taken 250 million years. But every species has developed its own way of attracting a pollinator. Now these ones here, they're night flowering. So my husband has to get up at 11 o'clock at the night till 4 in the morning to pollinate them. Otherwise you won't get seed, because there's nothing here in Australia to pollinate them. Right, these ones are day flowering, so we can pollinate them of a day if he's not too tired after night. So, yeah, so any other questions?
How long do they take
To get the flower on it? The lady's asking how long to get the flower on it. From a seedling or tissue culture, you're looking at most probably 18 months to 2 years. Yeah. So we've got 12,000 seedlings down now, and they'll be 18 months away from sale. Yeah. These blokes will be a bit longer, obviously, because this would already be 2 to 3 year old. So it depends again on the species. But the more common ones that we have to put on the, back veranda or on the shelf inside or something, you can put them inside for a small period of time, but they don't like to be in there full time. Yeah, even though they're canopy plants, they still need the sun for energy to make chlorophyll to grow. And these Neoregelias, I haven't got a big neo here, but these flower down in the well, and the flower spike's only about that big, about that tall, and every other day a little blue. There are some species that have white, but they have a blue flower come up, and the hummingbirds come into them, and they go from one to the other and pollinate them. And I'm sorry I haven't got any hummingbirds here for you. You have to go to South America. All right? Okay. No more questions?